What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Now, it's been a long time since I actually recorded a video and used this damn camera that I spent money on, so I figured I'd do something different. It is currently New Year's Day, so it is the 31st of December. It is currently New Year's Eve, 31st of December, in case none of you were aware when New Year's Eve was. I don't know why I bothered saying that. I decided to do a video today, and this is going to be kind of kick-starting my channel back, because I do enjoy making videos. I just have so much trouble finding the mental energy to do it after a full week at work, etc, etc, etc. I'm not going to moan about it, I'm just going to get on with it. So today we're going to be talking about 3 games that left a massive impression on me in 2017. And this can be an emotional impression, a mechanical impression based on how well the game was made, or just a general, this is how this type of game should be done in the future. I was going to do 5 games, but to keep the video as short as possible, we are going to do 1, 2, 3 games. So without further ado, we're going to jump into it. You're not going to see my face for the rest of this video, it's just going to be an over-the-top dub commentary type thing. But if you do enjoy the video, please like and subscribe and stick around. I'm going to try and keep up the uploads. Thank you so much for watching, and peace. So the quickest way to explain the first tree is as a third-person walking simulator slash platformer exploration game. Is that a quick way of explaining it? I don't know. But to explain it like that would be doing the true purpose of this game, I feel, a disservice. It's a short game, coming in at around an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if you really take some time with it. And while it looks gorgeous, sounds good, and is generally quite well acted, I feel like none of those things really matter when compared to the meaning and the story behind this game. So well, technically you play as a fox. It actually got dubbed the Fox Simulator, I believe, in some of the player reviews, like casual reviews on Steam, just because of the fact you play as a fox. Quite humorous, but that's actually not the case. While you do play as a fox, it's actually a parallel telling of a son trying to reconnect with his father. In this case, the fox trying to relocate her pups? Is that the name for a fox offspring? I guess so. And that way of intertwining the stories is really well done. I feel like the story is going to touch anyone that plays the game for various reasons, whether it's an old relationship that's broken down, the relationship with siblings, parents, friends, old friends, new friends, etc, etc, etc. Even jobs, old jobs, new jobs that you may have screwed up. And because of the wide interpretation of the story and the emotion behind it, I feel like the developers really did a good job of achieving what they wanted to here. And while, like I said, the soundtrack is truly magnificent at times, and while the game doesn't look the best, it certainly does look gorgeous at certain moments. And the voice acting starts off a bit weak, but really comes in strong towards the end, making it a believable tale. Now, the kicker is that this game is made by an incredibly small team. 1, 2, maybe 3 people if there was an external source for the soundtrack. The fact that 3 people sat down and made this game, not their first game, I believe there's another game, Home is Where the Heart Is, or something that they've made, but the first tree is truly an emotional experience and an unforgettable one because of how easy it is to relate to the narrative being told. And for that reason, the first tree was a resounding success, and due to various personal reasons that a lot of other people are going to have, I keep finding myself revisiting that story in my mind. And I feel like that was the achievement that they were going for with this game, and they managed it with such aplomb that I have to give plaudits to them. It's a great game, it's cheap, it's on Steam. If you don't play it, you're missing out. You can fill it in an evening. Go and do it. Next up is Senua's Sacrifice, or rather, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Published by Ninja Theory, who are possibly most well known for their almost bankruptcy and developing the most recent Devil May Cry title, they announced back in 2014 that they were developing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice for the Microsoft Windows platform and PS4. Oddly enough, not the Xbox One. I don't really know where that came from, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Hellblade does a fantastic job of tackling the real-world issue of mental problems, like genuine mental suffering, and bringing it into a platform that everyone can access. Mental health and bad mental health is something that's so hard to understand for people that don't go through it or don't have a loved one going through it. That bringing it through into such a well-received and well-published and advertised title truly deserves a pat on the back. The game could have been dreadful, and you would still have to congratulate them for being brave enough to tackle the subject in such a medium as video games. But beyond that, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a truly fantastic game, possibly the best single player game I played. Actually no, I'm gonna come out and put my money on it. It was the best single player game I played in 2017. It stuck with me, its harrowing journey as you join Senua through her hunt for her loved one's soul in hell, and accompanied by the schizophrenic and dementia related mental problems that she has. It really struck me. It was poignant, it was fantastically delivered, it was majestic in its delivery, if I'm honest. The visuals were incredible, the physics felt good, the combat felt satisfying, the puzzling, while not always challenging or imaginative, was still satisfying, and the voice acting and facial mocap is amongst the best I've seen. In fact, the facial motion cap is the best I've seen. Fact. Genuinely, you are hunting for your lost soul in hell, and along the way you encounter many enemies, many bosses and many challenges, and you have to get Senua through that, and it can feel like a struggle. The game is really quite challenging at times, especially in the later on levels when it takes some cues from horror games and the such. The bosses, while not always the hardest, take some cues from games like Dark Souls in the way that they're developed and the fact they are multi-stage. Hellblade brings all of this together, all of its fantastic audio, the soundtrack's incredible, I should have mentioned. It brings it all together, the visuals, the soundtrack, the voice acting, the facial mocap, the story, and the subject matter, all together into one package so nicely that I can wholeheartedly recommend it to any gamer that has some patience with single player games. It really is that simple. If you enjoy single player games, Hellblade is the game for you. Now, jumping in on that, if you don't have a PC capable of playing it or a PS4, sadly you're going to miss out on it because for whatever reason it wasn't published on the Xbox, which is strange considering the fact it is on Windows. But if you do have a PC or a PS4, buy Hellblade, play it, because it's truly fantastic. Next up, we're going to talk about a game that was released way back in 2014, and this sits in the bracket of the game that the genre should base itself off for the foreseeable future. It is that good. We are talking about Wolfenstein the Old Blood. So you may be wondering why we're going to be talking about a game that was released basically 4 years ago. Well, when it was released, I didn't take much attention to it. It looked like a first-person shooter that where you were killing Nazis. Didn't look that incredible to me. Didn't notice the very high critic reviews and the extremely high user reviews. And that's my undoing really, because it's a fantastic game. Then, earlier on this year, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus was released. This game was so well received that it's actually quite incredible, even more so than the Doom reboot, and I thought that game was amazing. So I decided to jump back in with the reboot of Old Blood, and that is what we're going to be talking about here. Set in a world, or in a parallel universe, where Nazis won the World War, it's truly believable. And you gotta remember that Nazis, in real life, were planning on building a weapon that harnessed the power of the sun. And when you think of it like that, the far out, somewhat unbelievable setting of Wolfenstein suddenly becomes slightly more believable with its robotic dogs, superpowered weapons, anti-gravity technology, mechs and suits and all that sort of stuff that makes the game awesome. Even if the world wasn't believable, if the game had a good enough story and a good enough character development, it would be a good game nonetheless. And Wolfenstein nails both of these things as well. The story is both poignant, ridiculous, brutal, fantastic, lots of set pieces, and the character development is amongst the best that I've seen in a single player FPS. In fact, the story and the character development together in this game, I think, make it the best first person shooter story that I have played possibly in a decade or more. Now, obviously this game was released in 2014 and we've recently had a sequel, Wolfenstein 2 the Old Colossus. This game was so well received that it was widely touted for a Game of the Year award. Unfortunately beaten by the otherwise fantastic Zelda Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, which is unfortunate because Wolfenstein 2 is also fantastic. I'm playing through that right now. But Wolfenstein the Old Blood is an absolute gem of the first-person shooter world. It takes its cues from older shooters, but then chucks in things from newer games, like stealth mechanics, takedowns, brutal takedowns as well, throwing knives, lots of different guns, gun attachments, gun upgrades, perks, a progressive perk system based on the way you play, so the more stealth kills you get, the more stealthier your character is going to become, etc, etc, etc. And all of this melds together with the fantastic story and character development that I mentioned, thoroughly good voice acting all the way through, and a really good and kind of disturbing villain in a first encounter that is truly unforgettable in games. All of this comes together in such a good package that I find it hard not to recommend Wolfenstein to anyone. Even those that aren't fans of first-person shooter games, I feel can get something out of Wolfenstein. There's also no multiplayer here, so you know that Bethesda's full concentration has been put into making the single-player story as best as they possibly could at the time. Combine this with the fact that it is a pretty game to look at, the soundtrack's pretty good, and it's a relatively short game coming in at 10 to 15 hours, you get a short, sweet, unforgettably delivered experience that I can, well, like I said, I can recommend to anyone. Wolfenstein the Old Blood is fantastic. If you're going to play New Colossus, you really should play Old Blood first because it does actually matter. And, well, quite frankly, the Old Blood's awesome. I don't know what else to say. It's such a good game. I completed it in the space of a week. It is that good. Go out, play it. It's not that expensive right now, and you won't regret it. I promise you. So there you go, guys. We have talked about 3 games that left a marked impact on me in 2017. We've got The First Tree, a truly unforgettable narrative that anyone can relate to. We've got Senua's Sacrifice, a game that brings mental health issues into the fore with a truly majestically developed and delivered game. And then we've got Wolfenstein the Old Blood, possibly the first-person shooter that all future first-person shooters should base their games on, or at least their single-player campaigns. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm not sure when I'm releasing this, probably on New Year's Day, I imagine, looking at the time now when I'm editing this on New Year's Eve. And I hope you all had a great evening, I hope you all had a great Christmas, and from here on out, I am going to try and keep my uploads regular, so thanks so much for watching, I much appreciate it. My name's been Zach, you've all been awesome, and peace.